Honda has been hiding something so disruptive that if this leak is real, the entire EV industry, not just Tesla, could be thrown back to the Stone Age overnight. Analysts are stunned because this single piece of engineering could flip the entire EV market upside down, and nobody saw it coming except a handful of insiders. While the entire industry was racing blindly towards full electrification, Honda quietly pulled $21 billion out of their EV budget and redirected it into 4 completely different engine technologies. And once you understand what these engines are designed to do, you'll realize Honda isn't stepping back from the EV fight. They're setting up a move that could flip the entire industry on its head. Let me take you back to the start for a second, because Honda isn't some clueless automaker throwing darts in the dark. They're the single largest engine manufacturer on the planet. These guys build everything from motorcycle engines to jet engines, from lawnmower motors to Formula One power units, and they've spent decades earning that title. So when a company with that kind of engineering pedigree suddenly announces they've created something special, you don't ignore it. You pay very, very close attention. The first bombshell Honda dropped was a brand new V6 engine built for big American vehicles like the Pilot SUV, the Odyssey minivan, and the Ridgeline truck. And this thing breaks a rule engineers usually can't break. It delivers 30% better fuel economy while also making the vehicle 10% faster. That's not supposed to happen. Normally, when you squeeze more efficiency out of an engine, you sacrifice power. That's just physics. But Honda found a loophole. They combined an Atkinson cycle V6 with a trio of electric motors, 2 up front and another powering the rear. And the result is a powertrain that gives you both efficiency and performance. And the craziest part? This isn't some distant concept. It's scheduled to hit dealerships in 2027. But this is where things really start getting interesting. Honda didn't stop at the V6. They also revealed 2 smaller engines, a 1.5-liter and a 2.0-liter. And they're boldly claiming these are the most efficient gasoline engines ever put into a normal consumer car, hitting something called 41% thermal efficiency. And that number is a big deal. Let me explain what that means in simple terms, because it's actually really important. When you burn gasoline in a normal car engine, only about 1/3 of that energy actually moves your car forward, and the rest just disappears as heat coming out of your exhaust pipe and radiator. Basically wasted money floating away every time you drive. Honda says their new engine captures 41% of the fuel's energy instead of the usual 30 to 35%, which means less gas wasted and more miles per gallon. And they learned how to do this from their Formula One racing team, which hit over 50% efficiency back in 2022 using super advanced technology that's now going into regular cars. These new high-efficiency engines are set to power 13 fresh hybrid models between 2027 and 2030. And Honda didn't just make them efficient. They shaved off 90 kilograms, about 198 pounds, which means the cars burn even less fuel because they're not dragging around unnecessary weight. But just when everyone thought Honda was done flexing, they pulled a wild card. They showed up at the huge motorcycle show in Milan and dropped something that sent bike enthusiasts into full meltdown. A brand new V3 engine paired with the world's first electric supercharger ever put on a motorcycle. This didn't just impress fans. They solved a problem that's been annoying drivers and riders for decades. Let me explain why this matters. Traditional turbo engines always have that frustrating delay when you hit the gas and nothing happens for a second or 2 while the turbo spins up. That delay has a name, turbo lag, and it's been driving engineers crazy and riders even crazier until now. Honda fixed this by using an electric motor to spin the turbo instead of waiting for exhaust gases to do it, which means you get instant power whenever you want it at any speed. And their 900 cubic centimeters motorcycle engine now performs like a much bigger 1,200 cubic centimeters engine because of this technology. The design is so clever that they don't even need an extra cooler to keep things from overheating. And while this is for motorcycles right now, the same technology could eventually show up in cars too. But here's where Honda's plan gets really different from everyone else. While Tesla and other companies are focused on battery-powered electric cars, Honda has been quietly working on hydrogen fuel cell technology for years, and they just made a huge breakthrough. In February 2025, Honda showed off their newest hydrogen fuel cell system, and compared to their old one that they built with GM, this new version is almost twice as powerful, going from 78 kilowatts to 150 kilowatts, while also costing 50% less to make and lasting twice as long. Honda actually ended their partnership with GM and built this entire system by themselves, which shows how serious they are about hydrogen being the future. They already sell a CR-V hydrogen car, which is available at select dealerships in California. And here's what makes hydrogen different from electric cars. You can fill up a hydrogen car in 3 to 5 minutes, just like a gas station, instead of waiting 30 minutes to several hours at a charging station. And the only thing that comes out of the tailpipe is water vapor. The CR-V gets about 270 miles of range, and Honda gives you between 15,000 and 30,000 $1,000 in free hydrogen fuel credits, so filling up doesn't cost you anything at first. Plus, it has a small battery that gives you 29 miles of electric-only driving in case you can't find a hydrogen station. Honda isn't just putting hydrogen in cars either. They want to use it in big semi-trucks, power generators, and construction equipment, basically anywhere that needs lots of energy but can't wait around for batteries to charge. So now you're probably wondering why Honda is doing all this instead of just making electric cars like everyone else. And their CEO Toshihiro Mibe explained it pretty simply in May 2025 when he said that unless battery costs come down a lot, electric cars will stay too expensive for most people. Honda cut their EV spending from $68 billion down to $47 billion, canceled a big electric SUV they were planning for 2027, and ended their deal with GM to make affordable electric cars. And instead, they're betting that hybrid cars will be what most people actually buy for the next several years, while hydrogen technology gets better and cheaper. Mibe said Honda is planning to sell over 2 million hybrid cars by 2030, and they've already figured out how to build them cheaper, with current Accord hybrids costing 25% less to make than the 2018 version, and they want to cut costs in half by 2027. Now, let's look at the actual numbers. General Motors sold more than twice as many electric cars in the second quarter of 2025 compared to the year before, up 111%, and Tesla still controls between 41 and 49% of the American EV market without seeming worried about Honda at all. Electric car sales hit a record 10.5% of all U.S. car sales in the third quarter of 2025, with over 437,000 EVs sold, while Honda only has about 4.6% of the EV market. So they're actually a pretty small player in the electric car world. Some people think Honda is making a big mistake, and the website Electric wrote that Honda committing to going out of business by pulling back on EVs as sales rise. And they pointed out that hybrid cars still burn fossil fuels no matter how efficient the engine is. The government wants 50% of all car sales to be electric by 2030, and California wants 68%. But Honda is only aiming for about 20%, which is way below what regulators are pushing for. Honda is also having problems in China, where their profits dropped 24.5% in early 2025 because Chinese electric car companies are taking over the market there. And doubling down on gas engines doesn't really help with that problem. Here's what's actually coming in the next few years based on Honda's official announcements. The new Prelude with their S Plus shift transmission started selling in Japan in September 2025 and comes to America in late 2025 or 2026. Their $4 billion battery factory in Ohio that they built with LG Energy Solution starts making batteries at the end of 2025 and will create 2,200 jobs. The new super efficient hybrid engines and hydrogen fuel cells start production in 2027, and the big V6 hybrid system for trucks and SUVs comes sometime in the late 2020s. So what does all this mean for the future of cars? Honda is basically betting that most people aren't ready to switch to pure electric cars because of high prices, long charging times, and not enough charging stations. And they think really efficient hybrids and hydrogen cars can fill the gap until those problems get solved. The technology they're building looks genuinely impressive if their efficiency claims are accurate, and the hydrogen improvements could make fuel cell vehicles a real option for more people in the next few years. But the big question is whether Honda is being super smart by going a different direction than everyone else, or whether they're going to get left behind when electric cars eventually take over. Nobody knows the answer for sure right now, and that's what makes this whole situation so fascinating to watch. So what do you think? Is Honda onto something big, or are they making a huge mistake? Let me know in the comments because I really want to hear your opinion on this. And if you learned something new today, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you catch my next video where I'm going to break down what Toyota has been secretly working on. And trust me, it might be even more surprising than what Honda just did. So I'll see you in the next one.